You thought that this was about war? You thought Trump just wanted to drop bombs, flex military power, and walk away with headlines? Wrong. Dead wrong. Because what happened over the last 12 days wasn't a war, it was a setup, a strategic trap, a master move that exposed not just Iran, but Israel, the media, and the entire international order. And while the world was panicking over missiles and screaming about World War III, Donald J. Trump was playing the long game, obliterating Iran's nuclear program, forcing Israel into diplomacy, and engineering a ceasefire that nobody saw coming, all without a single American casualty. Think about it, guys. This was not about war. This was about leverage, about legacy, about reshaping the Middle East without regime change, without boots on the ground, and without losing a single American soldier. And what comes next? Iran humiliated, Israel stunned, the media scrambling, and Trump already 5 steps ahead, rewriting foreign policy history with a single truth social post. So stick with me, guys, because in today's video, we're going to break down every move of this masterclass of geopolitical chess, including how the missile strikes were staged for maximum psychological impact, how Israel was outmaneuvered into accepting peace, and how Trump ended the 12-day war with the most powerful ceasefire strategy in modern history. So check this out, guys. This was never about war. This was President Trump's foreign policy endgame, and it just worked. Now, if you appreciate the daily news updates, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate your support. So this was never about war. Let's say it again, louder this time. This was never about war, because if you think President Trump's goal was to get bogged down into another endless conflict in the Middle East, you don't understand the man. You don't understand how he thinks, how he operates, or how he wins. What happened over the last 12 days was not an accident. It wasn't chaos. It wasn't luck. It was design. Trump doesn't just react on the world stage. He bends it. And this time, he bent 2 of the most volatile forces on earth, Iran and Israel, into a ceasefire that the media never saw coming. So how did he do it? He understood something most presidents never do. We don't need to win a war to win the world. Okay, let me rephrase. Let me restate that. You don't need to win a war to win the world. You need to win the leverage. And this is exactly what he did. He let Iran rattle their sabers. He let Israel voice their demands. He let the headlines scream about Armageddon. And while the world was panicking, Trump smiled because everything was going exactly according to plan. This wasn't about mass deployment. This wasn't about regime change. This wasn't about proving a point. This was about creating a moment so precise, so overwhelming, so unavoidable that even Iran and Israel, 2 sworn enemies, would be forced to the same table at the same time and leave with the same agreement. The weapon? Military pressure. The goal? Diplomatic obedience. This is what makes this a foreign policy master move and not a fluke, not a bluff, a play that only Trump could have pulled off. And so how did he set the trap? Let's go to the moment that the world changed first, right? So it all started with a 14 bunker buster bomb series that was dropped in absolute silence by B-2 stealth bombers, likely launched from the U.S. bases thousands of miles away, undetected, unstoppable, and unmatched by any military in history. The target? Iran's nuclear core, specifically 3 high-priority nuclear sites, including deep underground enrichment facilities, centrifuge farms, and conversion hubs that were weeks, possibly even days away from completing a nuclear weapon. So in the words of Vice President J.D. Vance, Iran is now incapable of building a nuclear weapon with the equipment that they had because we destroyed it. But here's what matters most. Trump didn't send troops. He didn't issue a declaration of war. He didn't even blink. He acted surgically, swiftly, and strategically. So this was not about removing Iran from the map. This was about removing their only leverage, the threat of nuclear force. And that's why it worked, because Trump didn't just destroy a weapons program. He destroyed a bargaining chip. He forced the Iranian regime into a desperate position where their only play was symbolic retaliation and then a quiet submission. The strike wasn't random. It wasn't impulsive. It was the bait. Carefully timed, perfectly executed, and designed to set up what came next. And what came next? No U.S. casualties, no ground war, and a ceasefire that caught the world by surprise. Every month that goes by, thousands of people are unknowingly paying for Medicare coverage. Don't be one of them. Jamie from Texas has made the switch, and she saved $600 just off of a single phone call. Darlene Walraven, she said, Ron, thank you so much. Chapter is saving me $200 a year and lowered everything. Guys, you don't need to be an expert. You just need someone who compares every single plan, listens to your needs, and helps you get the savings you deserve. Give our friends at Chapter a call right now. It's totally free. Their phone number is listed right down below, or visit them on their website at askchapter.org/Ron. Link in the pinned comment or in the description down below. Stop overpaying and start winning like Trump. So now I want to talk about the part that even the critics are struggling to spin, okay? Not a single American life was lost. You heard that right, guys. 0 casualties, 0 injuries, 0 blown operations. And that wasn't luck. That was intentional. Trump didn't want a body count. He wanted a message. Because what came next was straight out of a playbook only Trump would dare use. Iran backed into a corner and, needing to save face, launched 10 missiles, 6 aimed directly at Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar, one of the largest U.S. military installations in the region, housing over 10,000 U.S. personnel. But here's where it gets surgical. Every single missile was intercepted. Every single one. Thanks to Patriot and THAAD missile defense systems, the attack that Iran framed on state TV was a devastating blow, or as they claim it was a devastating blow, but it became a complete dud. But even that wasn't even the real story. What was? Well, Iran warned us first. That's right, guys. The IRGC notified Qatari officials, who tipped off U.S. commanders to clear the zone, evacuate soft targets, and prepare for impact. You know what that means? That means that this entire attack was a face-saving performance. It was staged, a carefully staged act meant to show their people that they had retaliated, while essentially signaling to Trump that we're done. Let's stop this here. And Trump, he let them. He wasn't after humiliation. He was after leverage. And now he had it. Iran blinked. Their nukes were gone. Their missiles failed. Their leadership vanished into the bunkers. They weren't the only ones who got outmaneuvered. So let's talk about Israel. Now, this is where the strategy gets really surgical. In almost any other administration, the immediate response to Iran's retaliation, or even the first bunker buster strike, would have included an open call for Israel coordination, maybe even Israeli escalation. But Trump didn't wait for that. He neutralized the threat to Israel before they had a chance to demand broader military involvement. So let me break this down. Israel had every reason to expect Iran would strike back hard. They had every incentive to push for preemptive defense strikes in Syria, Iraq, or Lebanon. They wanted a green light for regional escalation, but Trump didn't give it. Instead, he delivered something far more powerful. He destroyed Iran's nuclear capacity without sacrificing a single Israeli civilian. He wiped out the very threat that had been haunting Tel Aviv for years. And then he handed Israel peace on a silver platter. And let's not forget, Trump didn't ask. He just acted. He forced Israel into a diplomatic posture by solving their problem for them before they could weaponize it politically. And this is how he outplayed them. He removed the reason to say no to peace. So now, for the first time in modern history, we had a broken Iran, a satisfied Israel, and a U.S. president holding all the cards. But Trump wasn't done yet. So at this point, if you still think the 12-day war was some chaotic accident, buckle up, guys, because this is where the truth hits the hardest. Trump didn't get lucky. He built this war like a clockmaker builds a timepiece. Think about the timing. The strike on Iran's nuclear facilities wasn't spontaneous. It was synchronized like a Rolex watch with Israel's internal defense assessments, Iran's own proxy exhaustion, and global oil market exposure. The Iranian retaliation, it was telegraphed, predictable, controlled. And then came the public messaging right on cue. 12 days, not 13, not 8. 12. Why? Because Trump needed just enough time to crush Iran's nuclear leverage. The second thing is he let Israel feel secure without further escalation. And of course, the third, he primed the media. He primed the media cycle to hit its maximum saturation point. And just as tensions peaked and headlines started screaming global war this and global war that, what did Trump do? He posted one message, just one, on Truth Social that shattered the narrative. It has been fully agreed by both Israel and Iran that there will be a complete and total ceasefire. That's when everything flipped. The world paused. They looked around. The markets rebounded. And history started rewriting itself in real time. But Trump didn't just declare peace, he timed it into the minute. So this wasn't a handshake agreement over coffee. This wasn't backroom diplomacy. This was a 24-hour deactivation protocol that was so precise that it might as well have come from DARPA. So let's walk through what Trump announced. Hour 0, Trump begins the ceasefire. Hour 12, Israel follows. Hour 24, the war is officially over, sealed, saluted, and during each phase, the other side will remain peaceful and respectful on the assumption that everything works as it should, which it will. That's not a hope, that's a command. This ceasefire didn't just stop the war, it reasserted American leadership over the peace process. No United Nations, no NATO coalition, no backdoor G20 handshakes, just one man, one message, and a new doctrine. Strike fast, control the reaction, end the war before it begins. And it was the cleanest ceasefire the Middle East has ever seen. And if you think that you've seen the end of it, it's not. Now, here's where Trump's true genius shows itself. Not just in the strike, not just in the ceasefire, but in the optics of the peace deal itself. Because when Trump took to Truth Social to announce the agreement, he didn't just declare peace. He praised both sides. Yes, both Israel and Iran. God bless Israel, God bless Iran, God bless the Middle East, and God bless the United States of America. Wow, right? That's a direct quote from Trump. Now, you might be thinking, why would Trump bless Iran? Anybody else thinking that? After they just tried to become a nuclear power? After they fired on our bases? Here's the real answer. He wasn't blessing them. He was neutralizing them. By elevating Iran publicly in the same sentence as Israel, he erased their victim narrative. He cut off their ability to spin the war as a martyrdom, and he reframed the entire outcome as something that they chose, not something that they lost. This wasn't submission. This was cooperation under Trump's terms. You see what he did there, right? So meanwhile, behind that soft tone, here's what was really happening. The U.S. held the military upper hand, the moral high ground, and now the diplomatic high seat as the broker of peace between two historic enemies. And where was the media? Scrambling to explain how Trump did it without their permission? This wasn't just a peace deal. It was a global demonstration that Trump doesn't just lead the United States, he leads the board. But while Trump walked away with all the leverage, Iran didn't. In fact, Iran is still reeling from what just happened. So let's talk about that, right? Iran got wrecked. There's no other way to put it. And everybody knows it. Even Iran knows it. Their nuclear sites pulverized, their missile launchers decimated, their air defense systems are gone. Their ability to bluff with enriched uranium is finished. And yet, what did they do? They launched 10 missiles in return and warned us in advance. Think about that, guys. They literally called ahead so that we could clear the bases and make sure nobody got hurt. That's not war. That's a symbolic performance for Iranian state TV. And it gets even worse for them because nobody knows where the Ayatollah is. Rumors are now swirling that, he was injured in a strike, perhaps. Is he underground? Was he even targeted directly? I mean, no official appearances, no statements, just silence, which means one of two things is true. He's hiding or he's gone. Either way, Iran's government has been visibly shaken. Their chain of command is broken. Their international standing is obliterated. And while their propaganda machine just keeps spinning tales of honor, the world saw what really happened. They fired blanks, then folded, then signed President Trump's deal. And Trump let them walk away with a little bit of pride, not because they deserved it, but because he already took everything else. Here's where President Trump did what no other globalist, no neocon, and definitely no Biden ever understood. You don't need to topple a regime to end its power. You just need to make it irrelevant. Trump made it crystal clear from the beginning. No boots on the ground, no occupation, no regime change. This wasn't Iraq. This wasn't Libya. This was a targeted strike with a strategic ceiling. And yet the message to Iran was louder than any declaration of war. Try to rebuild this and we'll wipe it out again before you even hit 90% enrichment. Vice President J.D. Vance put it perfectly. We can fly a bunker buster from Missouri to Iran completely undetected and take out their nuclear capacity again whenever we want. That's not just military supremacy. That's psychological deterrence at that point. It tells the Iranian regime, you're alive because we let you live. And that message wasn't just for Tehran, it was for the entire world. Trump didn't need regime change to reshape the region. He just needed everyone to understand what happens when you challenge American dominance under his leadership. And now Iran's ambitions are in ashes. And the region is all of a sudden looking at something it hasn't seen in decades: opportunity. So let's talk about that for a second, right? Most people still don't see what the mainstream media refuses to report is that this wasn't just about Iran and Israel. This was about the future of the entire Middle East, because when President Trump brokered that ceasefire, he wasn't just ending a 12-day war. He was opening the door to a new regional order, one built on American-led stability, economic partnerships, and technological investment. Think about it. Gulf states like Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Oman, and even Qatar, they're watching this unfold in real time. They saw a U.S. president who could end nuclear threats without nation building, who could use military precision to create diplomatic certainty, and who didn't need UN permission to force peace. So, what do these countries want? They don't want chaos. They want investment in AI and clean energy. They want American tech partnerships and freedom from Iran's shadow warfare. Trump gave them exactly what they needed without asking for anything in return yet. But make no mistake, this was a setup for phase 2, because once the dust settles, you're going to see something incredible. A Middle East looking forward, looking toward innovation, trade, and sovereign independence instead of war. And when the history books are written, they won't say Trump started a war. They'll say he ended one to build something greater. But of course, not everybody's thrilled. Some were counting on a war, some were invested in collapse, and some are still pretending it didn't happen. So let's finish with a quick look at what the media meltdown looks like and the final word from President Trump himself. Here's the part that the media doesn't want to talk about. They spent the last 2 weeks breathlessly pushing one headline over another, right? And they just kept saying the same thing over and over and over. You guys probably heard it. World War III, World War III, World War III, right? CNN, MSNBC, the New York Times, all of them frothing at the mouth, desperate for carnage, expecting chaos, hoping for Trump to fail. But when you hope for Trump to fail, you hope that America fails. So what's wrong with that picture, right? And then what happened? No escalation, no body bags, no prolonged occupation, just one surgical operation followed by one diplomatic victory. It was just so clean, it was so precise, so controlled that the media looked ridiculous out there. Iran struck back, yeah, but they got intercepted. Israel on edge, yeah, but they're signing peace deals. Markets collapsing? No. Oil dropped, stocks surged. Every prediction they made was wrong. Every doomsday scenario, dead on arrival, and Trump knew it. This is why he took to Truth Social, not just to announce the ceasefire, but to deliver the final blow to the media narrative. Only the fake news would say anything different, and even they admit the strikes were pretty well destroyed. Wow. Translation? Even his enemies were forced to concede he won. And this is why this wasn't just a win, it was a master move. He didn't just outmaneuver Iran. He didn't just corner Israel. He outsmarted the press. He flipped the global narrative and proved once again that President Trump's doctrine, peace through power, works. And that brings us full circle to the truth no one else is willing to say out loud. This was never about war. It was about control. It was about precision. It was about leverage. And it was about reshaping the world without firing a single shot. And so if you were waiting for the world to spin out of control under Trump, you just got your answer here. He didn't light the match. He put out the fire. So let me know in the comments, guys. Do you think Iran will dare to rebuild? Will Israel embrace the new peace? And did Trump just secure the greatest foreign policy victory of our lifetimes? Like, share, and subscribe, because the truth doesn't come from the networks anymore, guys. It comes from us. And remember, this was never about war. This was about the master move. And the world just watched it happen in real time. So we'll see you next time. Hey, by the way, guys, if you're one of the real ones who really enjoy what we do here on the channel, you've got to check out the Inner Circle. This is where our true supporters get exclusive access to content that I just can't share here, completely commercial free. It's also the best way to keep this channel going strong. So if you want to be a part of something special, join us over there. Links in the description or in the pinned comment down below.